Dr. Jason Johnson is here. And look, Doc, first of all, Happy New Year. Great to see you.
Happy New
Great
Year.
sweatshirt. You
Thank
still
you.
got the tree up. The tree's up.
I was on vacation. I haven't taken down the tree. I just got back.
Hey, I haven't either. I'm not here to criticize, just an observation. Look, and we always say, Dr. Jason Johnson, folks need to know, like, you're the real deal, man. I'm no political scientist. You are a political scientist. What I do, you know what, I come to politics the same way I come to hockey. I'm just here for the fights. And we got a good fight. Please explain to us what's going on with the GOP. Because I said to my wife last night, I said, I need to talk to Doc Johnson about this. Because I was under the false impression that Kevin McCarthy was one of those hardliners. If he ain't a hardliner, I'm afraid of who the hardliners really are. Why don't they like him? What's going on here?
You can continue the hockey metaphor. I'm going to continue it for you. It's unnecessary fighting between white folks that for some reason is covered like it's not the anomaly that it should be. Okay? Fights in basketball become national news. Fights in hockey, people say, oh, we should discuss this. It's part of the game. This is what we see happening right now. Now, I can make this very clear for you. K-Mac, Kevin McCarthy, the man who would be speaker, the man who desperately wants to have the power to do absolutely nothing except frustrate Kamala Harris and Joe Biden for the next 2 years, wants to become speaker. He's got to get 218 votes, 220 votes to actually become speaker. He is not going to be a speaker. If you're trying to log into Facebook, that's the one that's not speaker, okay? As of right here, right now. They are voting, I believe, the 8th time for him to be rejected. Now, I didn't watch all those seasons of Sex and the City to not understand the basic concept of they're just not that into you. But Kevin McCarthy clearly doesn't understand that. He seems to think that even though he is 20 votes short of becoming speaker, that if he continues over and over again with these votes, that somehow the Matt Gaetz and the Lauren Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world are going to turn around and vote for him. And here's the other part to remember. The government can't start until we have a speaker. So this isn't just schadenfreude of watching the Republicans, their sort of dime store terrorist organization screw up the government. This affects your taxes. This affects national security issues. This affects funding to healthcare. This has major consequences. But that's what happens when you have one party that actually wants to govern, the Democrats, and the other, which is a dime store front for a terrorist organization that's about to celebrate their 2-year anniversary tomorrow.
Well, we're getting there. I want to talk about that in a second, but I want to ask a follow-up on this. So how was it resolved? It can keep going 8th time, 9th time, 10th time. That's clearly not going to happen. So how do we get to a point where we can move forward?
I don't know. And that's the honest goodness truth. Look, here's the funny thing. You got Hakeem Jeffries, who is the Democrat, who will be the minority leader or potentially speaker. If only 6 Republicans voted for Hakeem Jeffries, he would be speaker and it'd all be over, right? So it's not as if the threshold to make Hakeem Jeffries speaker is actually a lot smaller than the threshold to make Kevin McCarthy speaker. That's the other part that makes this so crazy. I honestly, Holly, I don't know how this is resolved because the 20 Republicans who refused to vote for McCarthy, they have made a blood oath that they're never going to vote for this man one way or another. I don't see why he doesn't step down. Look, he is at this point like the Carson Wentz of Congress. At one point, he looked great. At one point, he was the future, the MVP. But there's this number of times that you can fail before we just have to reset. You're not the guy. So I have no idea how this ends.
The ninth vote is happening right now, and that ain't going, and that's not going down either. That's not going to turn out the way McCarthy wants it. But I was talking to Gary Carter, our intrepid producer, before the show, and said, "Wow, tomorrow is January 6th. Tomorrow is January 6th, an anniversary of sorts, and now that we're 2 years past it." What have we learned? What have you learned? Now, in retrospect, you look at that day, and now Here we are just looking back. You know, what should we take away from it?
Well, here's the thing, Holly. We don't have to look back. What is happening in Congress right now is the result of January 6th. And I always point out to people, I was on the show, Brother from Another Mother, on January 6th.
Yeah.
Me and you, we were all talking when that was happening that day in Washington, D.C. When you don't hold terrorists and insurrectionists accountable, they will continue to stay and clog up and poison government. Those 20 people who are refusing to vote for Kevin McCarthy, those are your insurrectionists. And the rest of the Republican Party that refuses to just vote for Hakeem Jeffries or expunge those people, those are the ones who have spent the last 2 years trying to cover up for January 6th, justifying January 6th. Kevin McCarthy has been running around kissing everybody's butt, right? But you know what? There is no O-Dog this time that you can just go to and offer anything because these aren't people who can be easily convinced to vote for you. So I look at January 6th as the beginning of a long-term coup and insurrection in this country. It's still going. The fact that you can have the Lauren Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Chris Reese and so many other people who are directly or indirectly involved in either that attack or covering up for that attack, and none of those people have seen jail time. None of those people have seen jail time. I don't care about the shaman with the hat who sat on Nancy Pelosi's desk. I don't care about these low-level people, many of whom get thrown in jail, but they're allowed to leave to go on vacation or see their kids' graduation. There were members of Congress that calls were coming from inside the House. There are thieves in the temple, as Prince told us 35 years ago. And none of those people have been held accountable. And that's how you have a government that's in a giant circle of 9 votes because they don't want to govern. They just want to rule.
Yeah, you remember just a few weeks ago, Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live, where he had this little rhetorical thing where he said, "We've been on that. Okay, y'all finding this out now? We've been on that." Okay,
right.
So you think about it, that day, January 6th, we're on the air and we're talking about it in real time, and I think we all said, and this is nothing to be proud of. I mean, it's our country, so you don't want to be right about it, but
right,
we were right about it. Saying this is just the tip of it. We're just scratching the surface. We're going to find out how deep this was. We're going to find out who was involved. There are people who are storming the Capitol. All of them are not on the fringes of society. Some of them are your neighbors. Some of them are your doctors. There's one here in Ashland, Massachusetts, a doctor who was there at the insurrection, right there, like trying to hurt somebody. So it's after all, Doc, I'm saying this, and I'm not proud to say it, after all of the panels, all of the research, all of the footage, I still haven't seen or heard anything where I go, wow, I can't believe that happened. Like, have you seen anything or heard anything where you're like, oh, that couldn't happen here? I mean, this is really what a segment of the country is, correct?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Holly. It's a segment of the country. It's funny. Republicans right now are saying, we can't let 10% of the party control what 90% of the party does. But that's not really how it works. One, because they're not a party, and two, because they've all been covering for each other. Right? This isn't ancient. And when I've seen everything that we saw in the January 6th hearings last year, all it showed me is how much deeper this goes, which we always knew, which we always suspected, and the lack of accountability. Think about the fact that this is now we're heading towards a 2-year anniversary. Where's Merrick Garland? Oh, that's right. He passed the ball, right, 4 months ago to some other person who most Americans don't know, who will also do nothing. And now the investigations themselves have come to an end because the moment Republicans take over, as if Kevin McCarthy somehow becomes speaker or some other Republican becomes speaker, all of the January 6th committee information is thrown in the circular file. They're not going to investigate any of that. They're going to be looking at the Hunter Biden's laptop and what Joe Biden had for breakfast. This is how empires fall. This is how countries are destroyed. I don't know how anybody can be shocked that this is what happened. And I'll be honest with you, Holly, because it's all connected, right? When we look at large institutions run by money, greed, and to a certain extent, white supremacy, we never see real change. How many times have we talked about how bad what happened on January 6th is and no one's held accountable? How many times are we talking this week about seeing a man almost die on the field on Monday in the NFL? And will there be one change? Not one. Not one change. Not one person is going to be held accountable. Not one person is going to get a guaranteed contract. Not one person on that field is going to be told, hey, you can't do this again. Not one owner is going to lose access to their team. That's the problem. that we can't keep looking at these larger issues and saying, man, something's changed, but then the institutions don't change and we continue to participate with them the same way.